A first level warrior with a strength of 16, this is an example, plus 2 bonus, has a D3 deed die. He is fighting with a goat-headed demon that emerged from an extraplanar portal. The warrior declares his deed to shove the demon back through the portal. I think that's a wise decision. He attacks rolling a D20 plus 1d3 plus 2 due to his strength. The result is a 16 on a d20 and a 3 on the 1d3 plus his plus 2 modifier for a total attack roll of 21. The demon's AC is 17, so the attack lands. Because the deed die came up 3, the deed also succeeds. I like this. This I like. The warrior does 1d8 plus 3 plus 2 damage with his long sword and shoves the demon back through the portal. Note, depending on the size and strength of the opponent, a judge may still require an opposed strength check for such a maneuver. In this case, the demon is man-sized, so the judge rules that the pushback succeeds. Okay, so that makes sense to me, and I like it. It allows for some quick calculations, but yeah, I think so. In example 2, I will do this. On his next combat round, the same warrior declares his deed to be to shatter the demon's horns. But you pushed it through the portal. A grievous insult to any horned denizen of the 9 hells. He rolls a 5 on his d20, a 3 on his d3, plus 2 strength modifier for a total attack of 10. 5 plus 3 plus 2. And that's including the deed die. So this is below the demon's AC of 17. The attack misses even though the deed die came up 3. The deed fails because it missed. So you can't do the deed if myth. And it says there's no limits. There's no limits to the types of deeds a warrior can perform. And we've seen this many times while gaming. No matter what the rules seem to cover, someone always suggests, well, what if I, take the straw and blow it into the side of the pie? Can I get out individual blueberries? It's like, there's no rules that cover that. It would be a deed. Let me backtrack here just a bit and see, because I figured out what the deed dice were based on what some of the things it said, which is the only thing I have to base it on. Let's go back to the warrior real quickly. Yeah, and it has the attack, the deed die. Let's see if the thief has one too. I'm sure he does. No, thieves do not have deeds, so apparently thieves cannot do deeds. Only the warriors can do deeds. So yeah, thieves can't, and apparently neither can. Let's talk about dwarves, since we be dwarves here in the Dwarven Tavern. The cleric, nope, cleric can't do deeds. Thief can't do deeds, as we've seen. The warrior, of course, can. The wizard cannot. The dwarf can do deeds. The elf cannot do deeds. And finally, the halfling cannot do deeds. So only dwarves and warriors can do mighty deeds of arms, which is very similar to special maneuvers or the non-combat maneuvers from the Pathfinder games. So that's something else I disagree with about this book, because I think a thief can do deeds, as can a wizard. I cast a magic missile on that, try and zap that thing to fall on that guy and do that thing with the stuff, and the guy with the orange. Disarming attacks, and these are all special. And here's the reason that I don't like this, is that the deeds are all very combat oriented, right? But it says there are no limit to the types of deeds that a warrior can perform. So if a warrior can do anything from tripping a guy to, cutting the horns off a demon, or, pushing a guy back there, why couldn't a thief do that? Or an elf or a wizard? Well, I know why elves can't, because they're elves. Points are just dropping off left and right here. Precision shots. Now, a thief could do a precision shot, for crying out loud. I mean, throwing a knife or a dagger. Yeah, that's what thieves do. And elves with their bows? Come on. Really? An elf can't do a precision shot? Points are losing. Okay. And then you got rallying maneuvers and defensive maneuvers and stuff like that. So healing is 2 hit points per night. And then of course you get your saving throws. It's very similar, but changed a little bit. So they got other combat rules like catching fire, ook, ah, ook, ah. The charge, falling, firing a melee, grappling, and so forth. Turning unholy, which is just changing your alignment. The spell duel. A wizard seeks superiority over his fellows and attains that through demonstration of magical ability at any cost. When 2 wizards meet, there is always conflict, and when wizards conflict, there are spell duels. I think this is more like the game of stereotypes. This should not be called Dungeon Crawl Classic. This should be called Classic Stereotypes on Paper. The clap of thunder, the smell of brimstone, staggering concussion, contested dominance, and finally the pile of ash where once stood a man, or where once a man stood, depending on your preferences of grammar. These are the marks of a spell duel. Spell duels when one spellcaster casts a spell that is countered by a second caster, and the 2 proceed to throw spells until one dominates. Okay, yeah. There are the basic rules of spell duels, full detail as described below. There are 7 points. Both wizards and clerics can spell duel. A wizard can counter the spells of a cleric and vice versa. In rare circumstances, other classes can also spell duel, like thieves reading from scrolls. Spell duels are a special rule subsystem that breaks down some standard combat mechanics, specifically parts of initiative system. Casters involved in a spell duel may find themselves acting in response to each other prior to actions by other party members. Only some spells can be used to counter each other. Generally speaking, there are 2 kinds of counter spells: same spell and defensive. Same spell is like fireball, using to counter another fireball. Fight fire with fire, apparently. And defensive, which is a magic musical, like cats. A magic shield used to counter magic missile, or fire resistance used to counter fireball. Okay. Spell duels proceed in initiative order. Wizards later in the initiative may counterspell the spell cast by a wizard who went before him. The caster who is last in the order cannot have his spells countered. The caster who is last in the order cannot have his spells countered. So you just wait, counter all his spells, and then throw a lightning bolt. Counter spell mechanics involve and that actually precludes the freedom of choice, because in other rule systems, if you have the initiative, you can choose to wait. All right. Successes build and failures compound in a spell duel. A wizard who wins a few counter spells will find himself building momentum. Finally, untoward things can occur in a spell duel. It is, after all, the direct collision of unearthly energies. So, each player with a counter-spelling caster sets a d20 in front of the sheet. This is the momentum tracker. At the start of the duel, the caster sets the d20 to 10. Next, the attacker declares a spell he is casting and makes a spell check. The defender counterspeller declares a counterspell and makes his spell check. The winner is the high roller. Increment the winner's momentum tracker by 1, setting 10 to 11. After the concept of the spell duel, they have a pretty elaborate system of spell checks and counterspell powers that it's matrixed, and I'm all about matrices, and all that stuff. So I don't know if I would consider it over elaborate, because it's magic, and taking something as immutable, as wildly variable, and trying to assign it rules, which is what every game does with magic. It puts emphasis on wizards, as far as being able to magically duel, a lot more so than other games that I've seen. So I don't know. Kind of on the fence. In this book actually contains spellburn possibilities. It goes over the types of magic, like the divine magic of clerics, black magic from demons, elemental magic, enchantment, which is white magic, idle magic, or divine magic. So that's cool. That's a cool thing. You can see, I try to be positive with all of my reviews, and you've probably noticed the lack of positivity in this review, because I'm leaning toward the not liking of this game. Now, this is my opinion, right? So you can take it as you wish. Mercurial magic. A firstborn son of a witch hanged at trial wields black magic adroitly. An orphan raised by satyrs or satyrs, is a precocious student of druidicity, cosmic caprice determines skill in magic, birth order, family lineage, blah blah blah. As a result, the effect of a magical spell varies according to who casts it. Yeah, I think I agree with that. Magical rite invoked by one mage may be more powerful or even different than one in the same ritual exercised by a peer. Okay, that kind of captures the mercurial nature of magic a bit, doesn't it? Because it's called mercurial magic. Mercurial nature of magic, and I think that this is a cool aspect, right? The player rolls on table 5-2, which is the mercurial magic table. The percentile roll is adjusted by his luck modifier times 10%, and the player rolls on for every spell he learns. And it's just done once to say how this spell happens when this guy casts it. Okay, I like that. I think I like that a lot. Adjustment to spell effect, and it's got we won't go over each of them because it's like freaking 4 pages, complete pages, or 5 complete pages of. But just for some examples, let me find a die to roll, shall we? Okay, so I got some D10s in here, and there's 2 now. Actually, I'll just use these 2. Okay, so we've got the percentile dice, greens, tens. Now let's see. Let's go for one with the 10s, 10, because I like the 10s, 10. And there we go. Okay, so we're gonna roll. Let's say that this guy, in the example, he has a luck of +2, and that gives him plus 20%. So let's find out. When I learned Fireball, just as an example, I got a 29 plus 20% is 49. So we'll go to 49. See what that says. 41 to 60, no change. Spell manifest standard. Okay, let's say Odaluk's Freezing Sphere, which is not. I don't think that's in this book because it's a different rule game, but somewhat just a general spell. So 26, excuse me. That makes 46. No change. 52, which makes it a 92. Gibbering allies. Chittering, mephitic, rat-sized demons scurry forth from the wizard's pockets and sleeves, scattering around him in a scratching fury. They attack enemies within 10 feet. They get +2 to attack and 1d4 damage, and aid the spell as appropriate before dissipating into a cloud of ash after a minute. So whenever I cast a magic missile, for example, or whatever it was I said, I have a tiny horde of demons. Okay? So I guess it doesn't say how many, which I'm finding that more and more in this book, because it seems to be terribly under described in places. Gibbering allies doesn't say how many. It says chittering, mephitic, rat-sized demons scurry forth, attacking enemies within 10 feet. So I guess it's either up to the DM, or it's one per enemy, or I don't know, or maybe it's 6 per enemy. It's the maximum. Let's try another one. 28 is 48. That's no change. 80. Okay. Roll again twice. But instead of rolling percentile dice, roll 4d20 modified by the wizard's luck adjustments. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that'd be 5 and 7. Yeah, that 4 dice, really? Okay, 5 and 7 is 12, and 11 is 23, and 8 is 31, plus 20 is 58, so that's no change. So, okay, well, I'm kind of unimpressed with that. But the possibilities are, you know, chain casting. Each successive casting of the spell grants a +1 to the wizard's spell check, up to a total bonus equal to the caster's intelligence or luck modifier, whichever is higher. If a wizard casts another spell, he breaks the chain, resetting the modifier back to 0. So each time you cast a spell, you get a better chance of casting it next time, and so forth and so on. So, and it goes on. I mean, there's like a bunch of different possibilities for how your spell can be. They also use the concept of corruptions. Corruption, low-level wizards are powerful, high levels fear for their souls. Continual use of magic results in changes. ... changes. Exposure to demons, radiation from other planes, elemental energies, and toxic quantities. And the servants of chaos all affect the wizard over the course of his career. So, each and every time a wizard rolls a natural 1 on a spell check, he suffers from the effect of spell failure. Moreover, his spell may misfire, and he may suffer corruption. The individual spell injuries include results associated with natural 1 on any spell check, blah, blah, blah. He may burn a point of luck modifier to avoid corruption, and it may be burned after the player rolls to determine the specific corruption result. Corruption results include, but are not limited to, Character develops horrid pustules on his face. These pustules do not heal and impose a -1 penalty to personality. Ears mutate. Ears become pointed, fall off, enlarge, look like an elephant's, elongate, look like a donkey's, shrivel and fold back, etc. Facial appearance is permanently disfigured according to the magic that was summoned. If fire magic was used, his eyebrows are scorched and skin glows red. If cold was used, his skin turns pasty white and his lips are blue. Ambiguous magic was used, his appearance grows gaunt and he permanently loses 5 pounds, etc. Character passes out. He's unconscious for 1 to 6 hours until awakened by vigorous means. One of the character's legs grows a d6 inches. The character now walks with an odd gait. Body parts melt, so forth and so on. So if you want to use magic, you might as well just, and that's minor corruption. Major corruptions are like corpulence. Character gains 12 pounds a month. Forever, apparently. Character's tongue forks and nostrils narrows to slits. Greater corruption. Character's flesh falls off in zombie-like chunks. Character loses D4 hit points per day, and only magical healing can stave off the decay, so you're screwed. Body transformation. Character grows scales. Character grows gills. Character sprouts feathers, etc. Oh, generic. You can smell this fire. And so that shows. It could be. I don't know. It could be good. I am overall. I'm really not really impressed with this book, and I'm sure there's. Deity disapproval penalties. Wizard Grimoire. Some of these tables I think could be useful, I suppose. Then they've got the whole list of wizard spells in high detail. And then it goes on to cleric spells, which is a huge section. Heroes for points, experience points, magic items, and it's got the magic items section, which is odd that it would be in a thing like that. In this book, it seems like they would keep the magic items in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Then it has the monsters, Encyclopedia of Creatures Monstrous and Mundane. So that's all for the players to see. Which I entirely disagree with that. Wow. And it's got all the cave octopus. Yeah. It has some pretty classic monsters, Cyclops and deep ones, and demons, dimensional sailors, dragons, of course. Normally I always do try to look at the positive side of things, which I do. I mean, it appeals to the classic D&D lover, somewhat, but it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me at all. Everything from the limitations, the hard limits it puts on things, which it says you're the dungeon master. You can do everything, whatever you want within a game, like always. So those hard limits don't matter, but not entirely. But I'm going to give this 2 axes because it's a big book. It's not very expensive for being such a big book, but the pages are black and white, which it's very classic, and the text is real big, which makes it easy to read. And I like the matte flavor of the pages. I think it's it seems to be trying to put this nicely. It to me, it's a fumble on the book game system creation in the world of that, because it seems awkward. It's in an attempt to being classic, it has failed to be progressive, and it's just kind of a remash of the old rules to make it appear to be new while still keeping the classic flavor, and I don't think it worked. So that's Dungeon Crawl Classics. Sorry for the bad review, but it just didn't work for me. You may love it. I'm not saying that you can't love it. I know there's a lot of people that have a lot of good things to say about this book, which is and I do want to note what it says here on the back. It says it's a complete role-playing game in the 1970s. So, yeah, and that's fine. And that's fine. It is from the 70s, which is around the same time. So I think it's a direct. And I'm not real sure about the history of it. I don't know if it's a direct competitor of classic first edition D&D, or if it was a kind of a rebuttal to D&D to try and cash in on the D&D market. It being also from the 70s, so that's if it did, it didn't work very well. It was just like a bad imitation to me. And that's just my opinion. You might have a differing opinion, which is absolutely fine. But again, Dungeon Crawl Classics, 2 axes, $39.95 from Goodman Games, and if you want to see it for yourself, go grab a copy and see what you think. See if I'm right. Feel free to leave comments and suggestions. About where I can stick this book, or my opinion thereof. And we'll be back at a future, soon to be, with more reviews. We've got a ton of review books laying around, so I've got a lot of work to do. So, I've been and will continue to be Dr. Jeff Goins, and this is Dwarven Tavern review of Dungeon Crawl Classics from Goodman Games. On behalf of the entire crew and cast of the Dwarven Tavern, we wish for you to want for nothing but adventure and a good cup of coffee. And at first I feared it, then I charged and drank the coffee. So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.